Recording, and you'll all have to accept that if you want to stay with us. Okay. So, good evening. I'm Kathy Langen-Pusiker. I'm the Executive Director of Enrollment for Student Success in the Office of Student Success Services. And I'd like to welcome you to this evening's Hawk Talk. It's the second of the series of three with the Office of Student Success Services. We fondly are called OS3, and the Office of Accessibility Resources. They also go by OAS. As you know, this session is being recorded, and the recording will be published on the Hawk Talk page in a day or two. We would like to ask you to please mute your microphone and keep your cameras off to prevent the strain on Wi-Fi and computers. If we all have our cameras on, it strains everybody's bandwidth. Also this evening, I wanted to ask you if your questions are of a more personal nature because of the subject. We wish to respect everybody's privacy. So tomorrow, we will be available to answer more specific questions, and we will also share our contact information on the slides. If your questions are for everyone, then please feel free to post them in the chat, and we're going to make every effort to respond to all of your questions. So ready or not, here we go. So you can see our lovely building of, we have a picture here of Glendenning Hall. Both of the offices, Office of Student Success Services and the Office of Accessibility Services, we're both located here up on the second floor. There is an elevator to get up to us. The faculty and the staff and the students at St. Mary's College of Maryland, we all subscribe to something called the St. Mary's Way. And I wanted to talk to you about that for just a few seconds to let you know what is our mindset to welcoming students and to make sure that our community feels supported. In the St. Mary's Way, it is stated that we all agree to join in working with each other to develop our college as a community, and where people foster relationships based upon mutual respect, honesty, integrity, and trust. And you'll find that our services, we take this to heart. And you can read more about the St. Mary's Way at smcm.edu/St. Mary's Way, STMARYSWAY. And it's on these slides. You'll be able to get that later. As members of the Office of Student Success Services and the Office of Accessibility Services, we are truly delighted to see all of you this evening, to share information about just some of our resources. We won't be able to carry all of them to you this evening. So I did want to present our contact information. So Joanne Goldwater is on this, and she'll also be presenting. And Dana Kieran from the office, the director of the Office of Accessibility Services. You're going to meet all of us, but I want to stop here and ask you, if you want to take out your phones, take out your cameras, or grab a screenshot and make sure you get our contact information.
You're going to want to have this information at some point, trust me.
And as I said, these are going to get posted on the Hawk Talk webpage.
If I could jump in here and make one correction on
Sure.
Kathy's phone number, it says 340.
That's really it should be 240.
Sorry about that. Little typo. We'll fix that.
Just done. Okay. So we like to be really clear about what we do. And by the end of this session, we want to set up your expectations. So as I said, we're going to try and make sure that you know about some of the resources to help you or your family member be successful. And we're going to also like to make this a little bit interactive. So at times we will have chats using the chat feature. So this is chat time. And we have our little Jeopardy counter going. And we want to know in the chat, please share what you're hoping to learn more about or get out of this session. and we are going to do our very best to modify our remarks for you.
Let us know what you're thinking, what your needs are, what information you'd like to have, what questions you think you need to know, and we will do our best.
So Sarah, you're asking about moving in. We're going to talk about that at next Tuesday's Hawk Talk. Tonight is really about resources for successful.
Oh, I see a question that will probably be answered by Dana later on about how easy would it be to get accommodations. We're going to be talking about what services we are providing. What is the first step in accessing support before struggling or while being challenged by an expectation? I think we're going to cover that one too. The resources, you want to know about that? We're going to go over some of those with you. So I think so far we've thought ahead and we've got things covered for you. Mental health resources, yep. We'll certainly be able to touch on that tonight. Fabulous.
Thank you for sharing those, because it does help us frame our remarks. Oops. And so Joanne, who was just speaking, is now going to discuss a new resource that we're providing for families, but she's going to also talk to you about the other supports that we provide in the Office of Student Success Services.
Thank you, Kathy. I'm Joanne Goldwater. I'm the Associate Dean for Retention and Student Success. I've been at St. Mary's for many years. I'm about to start my 29th year at the college, so I know a little something about what's going on around here. And I've been in my current role since 2016. So happy to visit with all of you and chat. I will tell you that our office, the Office of Student Success Services, OS3, offers a lot of support to the students. We look at students as a whole, not just through an academic lens, but we know that what happens outside the classroom impacts what happens inside the classroom and vice versa. So we want to provide as much support as we can because we want our students to thrive and persist or continue to graduation. So we do that through a variety of different programs that we offer. One being our academic success coaching. We focus on academic skills like time management. How many of you students, or you parent your students, have difficulty with time management? Think about that. Or sleep hygiene, sleep strategies. Not everybody can go to sleep easily or wake up easily and get to that 8 o'clock class, right? So we offer success coaching, different strategies that can help students be successful in the classroom as well as outside the classroom. Note-taking strategies, reading textbooks, test-taking strategies. We know a lot of students get really nervous around tests. We offer strategies on that. So we have a wide variety of academic support systems that we can provide to our students. We also do advising. Each student will have their own academic advisor who they'll be meeting with during orientation in just a few weeks. Outside of that, we can also provide some support with advising and help students figure out, gee, should I add this class and drop this class? I can't find a class I need. What can I do? What do you think I should do? What should I take to satisfy this requirement or that requirement? So we do a lot of advising in our office as well. We have an early alert system. It's called Beacon that we use as well, because we know that if we can intervene early, we can stop a lot of problems from happening. So our faculty and staff use Beacon. That's the good news. The bad news is our faculty and staff use Beacon a lot. They share a lot of useful information with us, academic information, such as when a student is out of class too often, excessive absences, or they're falling behind on their assignments, or they're falling asleep in class, things like that. So we will try to intervene as early as we possibly can. So don't be surprised, students, if you get an email from Kathy or myself or our colleague, Mary Dorsey, or one of the athletic coaches, if you're on the sports team, or from someone in the D'Souza Brent program or whatever, to say, hey, we'd like to talk with you to help you get back on track. That's what we're trying to do, simply to help. We also have our student staff, our peer academic success strategies, PASS specialists, and they are specially trained to provide academic coaching for the students, because we know sometimes students learn better from their peers rather than someone who is more seasoned than a student. So students can do walk-in times with our PASS specialists. They can schedule appointments with the PASS specialist. They can meet with them just one and done, or they can schedule regular meetings with them throughout the semester. We have found from our surveys last year that students who use the PASS specialist really got a lot out of those conversations and the help that they were given. We also have tutoring, and it's free. Did I mention that tutoring doesn't cost you anything? It's free. So if you have any difficulty in your 100 level or 200 level classes, folks, please let us know. Tutoring at smcm.edu is the way to request a tutor, or stop by our office in Glendenning. And we will do our best to find a tutor for you that you don't have to pay for. We do our best to connect students to campus resources, services, programs, activities, support systems, whatever, as I said earlier, to help them be successful in the classroom and outside the classroom, to thrive and to continue to graduation. That's really important to us. And we have a new program that we're starting this year. It's called the Seahawk Family Liaison. And I'm taking on that role. I love working with parents, but parents, please take note. You have to have, we have to have a FERPA form. That's the Family Educational Rights to Privacy Act, FERPA. The student has to sign that form in a college official's presence if we're going to release any information that's directly related to that student. We have to maintain confidentiality of their records. And yes, I know parents, you pay the bills, but it's the student's educational record. Once the student signs that FERPA form in our presence, we can release information that is directly relating to that student, until and unless they revoke that FERPA form. They could sign it one day, revoke it the next day. That's entirely up to them. But we will be able to share general information with you, policy information with you, give you advice of a general nature. We'll take information from you, but we cannot share personal identifiable information with the parents that belongs to the student. But we do want to partner with our parents, because we know, just like in this picture, it shows the three people here. It takes the parents and families working with our office and the college and the student to make it all work right. So that's what we're going to be focusing on, building those partnerships. And for the parents, we are going to be putting information into the monthly parent newsletter. We're going to have 2 webinars each semester for the parents to address any issues, concerns that they may have. And we're going to do our best to create that comfort level with the college and with us. When you have a question, not if, because we know you will have questions. When you have a question, please feel free to contact us and we'll do our best to answer it for you. Okay? Excellent. Now we have some OS3 information, kind of the if-then kind of scenario. So let's say for you students who are on this webinar, or parents, if it's your student, you have a really hard course. Oh, you're just not getting the information. What do? Well, we suggest to the students, and parents, you should suggest to your student, come to our office. Let us get you a tutor. Let us get you connected with a PASS specialist. Let us get you connected with a success coach, somebody who can meet with you regularly to help you do better in your classes. We do this really well, so let us do our jobs, okay? We're good at it. Let's say, students, you can't wake up on time for class, whether it's an 8:05 class or maybe it's a 12 o'clock class and you're still not able to wake up. I would suggest that you think about getting a second alarm clock and put it across the room so that you have to physically get out of the bed to turn it off. There's also apps out there like Alarmly, where in order to turn off the alarm, you have to do some sort of action, like do a math problem in your head and then put the answer into the app, and then it will shut off. So by then you're awake. You might want to think about that. Deaf people learned this many years ago, and lots of hearing people are doing it now. Getting a bed shaker. Sometimes, having the bed shake or a pillow shaker will be enough to wake you up. So that could be helpful. Like I said earlier, we help students learn about sleep strategies. So come on in and talk to us about that. That's one of my most favorite subjects. I love talking about sleep. I've got a whole book on it. So feel free to come in and talk with us. Maybe students, you're feeling overwhelmed about whatever. It could be class related, it could be personal relationships, it could be anything outside of class. We would like to suggest that you meet with our wellness center staff. We've got the counseling side, we've got the physical health side. So you've got opportunities there to connect with people who can provide you with some support if you're feeling that overwhelming sense of foreboding or whatever. Okay, so you can make use of our wellness center. They are on campus between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday. No appointment is needed between 1 and 3 p.m. Mondays through Friday. That's their walk-in hours. So you can just walk in and you don't need an appointment to talk to someone. You can also come talk to someone in OS3, talk to your instructors, talk to our Dean of Students, Derek Young, your academic advisor who you're going to be working with, your RA if you're living on campus, or your resident talk coordinator, or your orientation leader. Lots of people are trained to help support students when they're feeling overwhelmed. And almost everybody on campus, students, faculty, and staff, feel overwhelmed at various times of the year. That's normal, it's natural. Don't let it get to you, okay? We can give you strategies to overcome it, okay? Let's say, for example, you're ill. You've got the creeping, crawling campus crud, or, COVID. That could be a situation, and you have to miss class. You can contact our office and we'll notify your instructors for you, and see if we can't make arrangements for you to make up that work when you're feeling better. Or if it's COVID, you may have to be out of class for a week or longer. We might be able to make arrangements for you to Zoom into the class, okay? Or you can contact the Dean of Students. Either way, if there's a family emergency, the student or the family member can contact our Dean of Students, Derek Young, or again, OS3, and we'll notify the instructors for you. That's one less thing you have to worry about, folks. If you're struggling with writing or making oral presentations, and trust me, students, you're going to do a lot of writing and you're going to have to make oral presentations during your first year. So if that's a struggle for you, we suggest that you use our Writing and Speaking Center. They will help you with the writing process. They can help you with the speaking process and preparing the PowerPoints or whatever presentation program you have to use, and then rehearsing. You'll want to do that so you can get the feedback on what you're doing well, what you need to improve upon. So make use of that Writing and Speaking Center, which is located in the library on the first floor. And let's say you need accommodations. Maybe you had a 504 plan in high school or an IEP in high school, or you haven't gotten any of that, but you still feel like the playing field isn't very level. You'd probably want to talk to someone in our Office of Accessibility Services. And I'm going to turn this over to Dana so that she can talk to you about that. Dana?
Dana, we can't hear you. I cannot hear you. Do you want to run down the hall and stand here?
Dana and Kathy are in the building right now.
Come on down, Dana.
Oh,
I heard it for a second.
Now?
yep, you're good.
Okay. All right.
But you're so quiet.
Well, I don't know what to do, guys. 100%. Can you hear me now, or do I need to come down?
No, I can hear you. If you can lean in closer to your laptop, I think you'll be okay.
Okay. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you again. I know this is an exciting time for everybody and their next step in their educational career. But I do know for students with disabilities and students without, there's a lot of anxiety and some overwhelming feelings when it comes to this next step. So sometimes for students who are registering with our office, that can be a little bit more difficult, and we're here to help you through that process as seamlessly as possible. If parents are on tonight, I want to thank you for trusting our office to work with your student to help get them access here at St. Mary's. It is our job and it is our pleasure to do so. So well, the first thing we're going to talk about as we move forward is the differences between high school and college when it concerns laws and rights. So if we could go to the next slide. So often parents will say, what laws protect our college students with disabilities, and what do those look like, and how is that different from the high school setting? It's important that I share this with you tonight so that you understand the structure that I'm working from. So students at the college level are covered under the Americans with Disabilities Act, as well as Section 504, Title II. So what does that mean? In the past, they were covered by the Individuals with Disabilities Act for students in K through 12 or pre-K as students with disabilities who received special education. That law is made as an educational benefit to the student, and they are children. So ensuring that they have special education and that they are successful in that academic environment. Here at college, it's a little bit different. Under the ADA, that is a civil rights law. So our office is here to ensure that your student is not discriminated against. And how do we do that? We provide them access to their academics, their dining, public programs, campus facilities, and things through accommodations. So this law specifically works with adults. So we consider your students adults here at St. Mary's, and they are covered under the Americans with Disabilities Act. So two very different things here. So I need you to understand K through 12 is based on success. Everything they did was to get you to that goal line. Everything we do in our Office of Accessibility Service is to give you access and those accommodations and tools for you to use to be successful. That is why this partnership we have with OS3 is so invaluable. Luckily, they are right down the hall. They are my colleagues, and we are within arm's reach of each other to help you to not only have access, but success. So the next thing we kind of need to touch on before I can talk a little bit more is to continue about whether a 504 plan or an individualized education program would be better for college. So the question is, if I send my IEP, can I get accommodations? No, you cannot. Neither one of those things stand alone for you to get accommodations here at St. Mary's. That's not because I don't like you, and it's not because I don't believe that you have a disability. It's because I work underneath the law and I have to protect your federal rights so that you're not discriminated against. What they do count as is historical documentation. Those documents provide a wealth of information for me and my colleague to decide what accommodations are going to best meet your needs here at St. Mary's. So they are very important. So if parents are on this Zoom call tonight, please make sure that if you have historical documentation you want to share, whether that's the 504 plan, the IEP, psychoeducational testing, checklist from your pediatrician or service provider or practitioner, go ahead and submit it. We will take all and consider all as historical documentation to help move your student forward in the process. The next thing that's very important for you to understand is the student's narrative. Their story is one of the most important pieces of this process here at St. Mary's. What we do is we take that historical documentation and then we spend a lot of time with the student to understand their narrative and what has happened. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we move through. And lastly, The thing that people get caught up on are the verification forms. So I will easily tell you how to move through those in the next couple slides, and I think it'll be okay. So go ahead and start getting those things together. So when it comes to disclosing your disability, there are 3 things I wanted you to consider. You've already made it past admissions. Congratulations. You're highly qualified to be here as a St. Mary's student, and I welcome you to the family. You have met the admission standards, and you are going to do just fine because you have met the rigors that the university set or college set for you to be here. So let that go, and you do not or never have to share that you have a disability with admissions. You can, but you do not need to. So moving forward, when you attend graduate school, you can decide whether you want to share that or not. The next time, or the next thing is, if you don't plan on using accommodations, let's say you had accommodations in 2nd grade and you no longer use them, but your parents are insisting that you go ahead and be proactive and register with our office. I sincerely suggest you have a conversation at home about how you've learned strategies and skills and things that you feel you will not need accommodations. So you don't have to disclose if you've ever had a disability to anyone on this campus. But if you do want to use accommodations, you do have to disclose. So the next slide is going to talk a little bit about how and why that's important. So for parents and students, the most important thing is how to get this started. So what is the process to getting students registered here at St. Mary's for accommodations? So what we want you to do is to self-identify. You, the student, need to make the decision that you want to share with the college that you have a disability and want to use accommodations. I understand that parents are very much a part of their students' process and getting them ready for this next step. And if you as a parent have had this conversation with your student and the family has decided together, then go ahead and reach out on their behalf if that's what needs to be done. If not, the student can self-identify very easily by just going to our website, which I've provided you a QR code in later slides, and you can simply click on the tab that says registering for accommodations. That's going to take you into a linked form called From Accommodate, our software. You'll need your St. Mary's username, your ID, and your email. If you don't know those, please let us know and we'll get that for you. And go ahead and complete that registration form. Mom, dad, guardians, whoever's attending this with them, please let them complete the form. I want to hear what they have to say. I know that you have perceptions of what's happened to them in their high school situation or homeschooling, whatever has been done, but their voice is the voice that's going to be heard here on a daily basis. So go ahead and let them complete the form. So as we move into step 2, what needs to happen? It's time to go ahead and gather and share any third-party documentation that you have or information that you have to submit to us through Accommodate. That same place where you completed the registration form, you are going to submit information that shares with us your current diagnosis, limitations of that diagnosis, how it creates limitations within the classroom setting. And your provider will also list some ways that we could possibly mitigate or alleviate or help give you access in those situations and being supported on campus. The next thing after you submit that documentation in the same very spot that you put the registration form, you'll get an email from our staff. We are a mighty staff of 3, 2 of us do intakes. You will receive an email from either my colleague Megan or myself to schedule a meeting with you. During that meeting, we will talk about your condition. We'll talk about what supports you had in the past. We will talk to you about what was helpful and not helpful. We'll talk about how you navigated those challenges and what were your successes. It's your time to speak. So you need to share with us anything you want us to hear. I guarantee you'll leave the meeting feeling validated and knowing that we're going to do everything in our power to give you the access you need to be successful here. The fourth step is that accommodation determination. This is where parents want to know, how is it that you've made this decision that my child will or will not get an accommodation? Well, it's a case-by-case determination. No student with the same disability may have the same accommodations because they're not the same people. And their needs are very different. So we consider every piece of documentation in the narrative and the verification forms to decide what accommodations will happen. This is not a process that takes place alone in my head. You are very much part of the process. The parents are welcome to be part of the process. We do like the student to lead the meeting because they are learning to advocate for themselves. So it's very much an iterative process where we're very interactive and asking what the student needs or what they think will give them access in this setting. We at that time will discuss reasonable accommodations and what we feel will help the student in the classrooms here at St. Mary's and working with the St. Mary's staff. But I do want to make it very clear that I have a fundamental obligation to the institution to support the college rigor. And I cannot give accommodations that are going to fundamentally alter the program or things we do here that make your program as good as it is. So sometimes if the answer is no, it is based on it's a fundamental alteration of the program or the goals and objectives of your class. And it's not done quickly, and your professor's included in the talk, and you're included in the talk. And if that is something that happens, we will talk about workarounds. But I just want to put it out there that not all accommodations are always granted. Lastly, after those accommodations are determined, what we do is we share with you 2 letters. One of those letters is your approval letter. Your granted accommodations will be listed for you there for you to review. If something's missing, my gosh, we're human beings and we see a lot of students. Please just let us know. We probably missed to click a button. Sometimes we're here one by ourselves or the other, so it's just a mistake. You will make them, we will make them, but we can fix them. So just let us know that something we discussed is not on the letter, but be sure to do it quickly. Don't wait till the end of the semester. The next thing to do is you will get a letter for your faculty. You will download that as a PDF, and then you will send that to your faculty in an email. The email does not suffice as letting them have notification that you are working with our office and have accommodations. You must talk to your faculty about your accommodations and how together you see them working in your class. If you are very frightened to do this, I understand. I don't like talking to people. So what I need you to do is make an appointment with me or my colleague, Megan, and we will help you work through it. We can help you draft an email template that you're comfortable with and walk you through how to have this conversation without disclosing your disability or feeling bad that you didn't tell them what your disability is. They do not need to know. I am telling you, you do not need to share your diagnoses, just your accommodations. The last thing to do is when renewing your accommodations each semester, at this point, you'll be very used to Megan and I will be sending out communication bi-weekly to you with helpful hints and things you should be reminded of. So my friends in OS3 will be reminding me to remind you, and I will send it through that communication, but I will also remind you to renew your accommodations, which is simply just clicking a button. So I hope that alleviates some stress. We are a very laid back, easygoing office. We like to have fun and we like to laugh. So I hope you will join us in that. And the last slide for you from me is our QR code to the website. You simply can hold your phone up to the screen at this point in time, open up your camera, and when you hover over that QR code, you're going to see a little yellow button or whatever button comes up. Click that and it'll immediately take you to the website. I know that this information was fast. It was very general, not very St. Mary's specific. However, the steps are, that is all St. Mary's, but you are welcome to contact me tomorrow and I will walk you through.
Dana, a couple of questions have come in. Should students be turning in their letters and scheduling those appointments with their instructors now, or should they wait until classes begin?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. So here's my advice. You can do what you want to do. You can go ahead and submit those letters to your faculty now via email. However, I have concerns that you're doing that so early in the summer. Faculty are not yet in the mindset of being faculty. They are getting their syllabus ready. They are making sure that everything's straight for you to be here. So I think it might get lost in the shuffle. So as the director here, I'm telling you to wait a week closer to classes, send them that letter then. You'd be better so that it's sooner in their email than later.
Thank you, Dana. And another question, do we count anxiety and depression, et cetera, as disabilities, just like being blind or deaf?
Yes, so the really amazing thing about the Americans with Disability Act, it covers almost about everything, and mental health is definitely a category in which a student is considered to have a disability. So if you have a mental health concern and it impedes your academics, your dining or your living, you're going to want to reach out to us and register to talk about possible accommodations in those areas.
Thank you.
Mhm.
What other questions do you all have? You can put them in the chat. I suppose we could have you raise your hand and we can unmute you, whatever you're comfortable doing. In the meantime, Kathy, you want to talk about next week's session?
So another QR code for you. Next week's the third and final Hawk Talk. It's about how to wow, the week of welcome, getting ready for move-in and orientation and all the nitty-gritty about, is there a mirror in my room? What am I going to pack? Should I have shower shoes? Yes. Should I have water shoes so that I don't cut my feet on oyster shells? Yes. And all of those wonderful little bits. It is next week, next Tuesday, August 9th at 7 p.m. When you register, it then sends you an email. Make sure you put in an email that you can access so that you will have the correct information to be able to log on, and we will welcome you next week with the Dean of Students and orientation leaders and all the people who will be leading that orientation for you. So what other questions do you have? I just end up closing out of there. There we go.
I see we have a question about what group sessions are available at the Wellness Center. Raina, that is dependent on the semester, actually. It's the Wellness Center will develop their group sessions based on student interests, student needs. So if there are some specific groups that any of you are interested in, please feel free to contact the Wellness Center. You can talk with Jess Jolly or Maria Hogard, and they will be more than happy to talk with you about the groups. I know Maria loves to do art therapy groups, and she does at least one almost every semester. But then the other kinds of group sessions are really dependent on student needs. Okay, hopefully that answered your question.
So Raina, if I could interject just in case this is something anybody needs out there, the Office of Accessibility Services has partnered with Wellness to co-host a group for students specifically with disabilities, should you need that resource. And in that group, it is a student-run group, but you also have the counselor available, as well as you will have the assistant coordinator in that group. And it's an open session where students get to talk about what's going on, how their disability is impacting them here, what kinds of things they need, or just to talk about what's going on in their life at St. Mary's. It's going to be called Advocacy, Collaboration, and Transition. So it'll be called ACT, and that information to anybody who is registered with our office will come out straight to you via an email.
What other questions might you have?
Oh, this is a quiet bunch.
I'm going to go backwards and I'm going to show you all our contact information. I know some people got on a little bit later. Mine is a 240 number. Hold on, view slideshow. And if you have specific questions, feel free, drop us an email, give us a call tomorrow, and we'll be glad to answer your specific questions. And
We're really looking forward to having you joining us. And like I said before, we look at the students as whole people. We are trying very hard to meet students where they are developmentally and then move them up little by little so that they can be successful in and out of the classroom. So when you need us, come visit. Kathy and I have our offices in Glendenning 230. I happen to have the best office on campus because I have 2 really comfy rocking chairs and a chocolate jar that sits between them, a snack basket next to them, and a little mini fridge with bottled water behind them, because I'd much rather chat with students and family members than work on my computer. So come on in and visit with us. Let us know what clubs and activities you're getting involved in. And let's see what we can do to make your first year really, really successful. And if you're interested in learning about my action plan for success called the 4-3-2-1 plan, I'm more than happy to share that with you. Just put it in the chat if you want me to talk about that. But we're really excited about having you all with us. It's always exciting.
Enjoy some sunsets.
Oh gosh, yes. There's a sunset that was painted right behind me back over here. I don't know if you all can see it. But that's one of the St. Mary's sunsets. Oh, and I see someone would like to have the action plan. Okay, so here you go. It's the 4-3-2-1 plan. The goal is for first year students to graduate, hopefully in 4 years, maybe 4.5. And we want you to aspire to get a 3.0 GPA or better. And you can do that by working with our office, but you can also do that by making sure that you study 2 hours for every 1 hour of class or lab that you have every week. So most of our first year students are registered for around 17 credits. A few people are below that, but most people have 17. So you should be spending at least 34 hours a week outside of class doing work, doing academic work, tutoring, writing your papers, reading, rereading, writing your notes, rewriting your notes, meeting in study groups, which are very, very successful, by the way. Making sure that you're preparing your presentations for class, that you're rehearsing your presentations, all of these things, meeting with your instructors, meeting with the TAs, all of these things account for those 34 hours every week. So your full-time job really is being a student, okay? And then the 1 is to be involved with at least 1 recurring activity every semester, a club, an organization, a committee, an on-campus job, something that gets you out of your room, engaging with other people so that you can kind of build your network. You can let your hair down, have some fun, because all work and no play is no fun in college, okay? And to relax a little bit. Maybe you try a new skill. Maybe you really love to ride horses, you join our equestrian club. Maybe you've always wanted to learn how to ride a horse, join the equestrian club. Lots of different clubs. So if you do that 1 recurring activity every semester and you study 2 hours for every 1 hour of class or lab every week, you're more likely to get that 3.0 and get out of here in 4 years. 4-3-2-1. That's a success action plan. Try it. And then let me know what activities you get involved in. because we are curious. We want to make sure that students are in fact getting out and doing something besides books, 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 books. Hopefully that is helpful to all of you. What other questions do you have? Or comments? Hopefully this was helpful. If there are parents on the webinar tonight, how about putting into chat what you think you would like to know more about during the semester so that we can build a seminar or a webinar around your needs. If you've got some suggestions, we'd love to hear what they are. We're in the process right now of putting together our webinars and coming up with topics, and we want to address whatever would be helpful for our family members. So if you've got suggestions, put them in the chat. What else we got going on, Dana and Kathy?
Just getting ready to welcome everybody. Getting ready to finalize our orientation sessions. The 2 brand new buildings are about ready to open up. We know that they'll be opening really right after orientation. So that'll be a lot of fun. You'll be able to access the Learning Commons. There'll be Starbucks in there.
Oh, thank goodness.
Some of us really need our coffee, right, Dana?
Thank goodness.
Or
Yeah.
tea. You don't want to see me on coffee. It's not pretty.
Joanne, there's a question about, is there an American Sign Language Club?
That is all dependent. I happen to be the instructor for the sign language class on campus. And the ASL club was not active the last couple of years because of COVID. So if there are students that want to re-energize the club, that would be awesome. We'd love to get that club back online again. So if you're interested, come talk to me. I'll get you connected with the right people. And students, what information do you think your parents might need to know? Put that in the chat so we can address some of those issues as well. We've learned a lot of good tips from our students, things that they want their parents to know. They want their parents to have empathy. They want their parents to be understanding, but they also want the parents to kind of let go a little bit. So what do you think parents need to know? Yay for ASL. I love that people are interested in that. By the way, I do offer the sign language class every semester. So if you couldn't get into it this semester, keep trying.
Oh, you know what we didn't talk about is the sales class, the Seahawk Academic Improvement and Learning course.
Right.
Learning Strategies class, that is IDIS 124. I'm the person who teaches that course. First year students are able to take that 2-credit class, and we work on learning strategies and do learning inventories. And it comes with a lot of support from our peer academic success specialists, the other coaches. I know most of you are signed up for 17 credits. It is an additional 2 credits. It fits into most everybody's schedules because it starts at 4:30 and it goes till 6 p.m. And it's a really hands-on class with just again a lot of support. You have to work through a lot of tasks with groups in class, and then meet one-on-one with myself or one of the academic coaches or a past specialist. And students last semester, a number of them really improved their GPAs. So upper class students also take this class. The class is not full. So we do have plenty of seats available. It's IDIS 124. It's the only section of it. And it's a pretty fun class. Students' feedback on it, they seem to really like this class. We have you think about how you learn and how learning science says you can learn better, and provide you different strategies. It's like going shopping and you get to try on a bunch of different clothes and you figure out which one fits best to help you feel and look your best. We're going to help you feel and learn your best.
Kathy, how do they get into the class if they want to.
Oh, well, right now, from August 1st through August 5th, you are allowed to be able to modify your course schedules. So you can actually go into the portal and you can actually add a class by going into the portal and logging in. Let's see if I think what I'll do at this point in time is stop the recording, and then I will be able to go ahead and show you my portal. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording.